want me to do it. She's not just one thing, she has a steely exterior and she's a very law-abiding, strategic, sort of meticulous person, quite a lonely person, quite a shy person, and she's thrown into this incoherent world where she's quite vulnerable within it, and so she's unable to do her job and fall back on any training that she's normally had, and so I loved that idealism being met with brutal reality. I just thought it was sad, actually.
When Traffic was made, the war on drugs was showing that it was not going anywhere. 15 years later, it's still the same. And I think these guys are doing their complete reaction, like a last call for a last push of some sort, going all out, dropping the big bombs that obviously is just not going to stop and not going to change anything, because nothing has changed in the last 40 years.
Once in a while you put people together, the Coens and Deakins, now Denis and Deakins. There's something that when you bring those two things together, and then Johann and his music, look, man, sometimes things happen and it just works. I watched this. I had no idea the movie was as good as it was when we finished it. I don't think anybody did. So I think that's testament to Denis and his vision, because when I saw the movie, I thought, that's a master. Like somebody who I thought was good actually was great.
First of all, because the movie is not about the cartels. It's about the victims of the cartels, and it's about America. It's about how America deals with things that it can sell. It can solve problems outside of its border with violence, and thinking that the problem will disappear with violence. And I think it's a subject that needs to worth to be explored. Now, what is stand out is also that I think it's not a cartel movie. I think it's a hybrid between a cartel movie and a war movie, and it's more close in a way to a little war movie.
I mean, look, the morals change depending on the needs of what's going on and the intentions of this guy personally, professionally. I like my character. You have no idea what he's going on personally. Zero. You don't know if he has kids. You don't know where he lives. You don't know if he's, right? You know what I mean? So he has an intention that he's trying to fulfill, and he manipulates a lot of people to accomplish that end, and is willing to do anything to get there. But morally, I don't know. When does it really, morally, are we doing the right thing when we're putting a bunch of people in jail, and we have more people in jail than anybody else on the planet, and yet, because of drugs, and yet we've spent $1 trillion since Nixon implemented the war on drugs until now, and it hasn't gotten any better. It's all moral, but yet you have all these people dying because the war on drugs is not working at all. You have $1 trillion spent. So, I don't know. Is the immoral route the way to go? I don't know. All it does is pose the question. This is a fictional movie.
The drug cartel movie is, has been done a number of times. How did you feel this differed from other films that...
I think it was much more sensitive towards the South American side. And I think actually it shows that North America are complicit as well, that there is no bad guy, that there's corruption on both sides, and that's why the problem is ever increasing and ever more complicated to solve. And I think that's why it was good to have Denis be the director, because he was neither from South America or from America, and he was able to kind of step back and offer a different perspective on it. I think it's such a complicated problem that I think there are many more films to be made on this subject, many more stories to be told.
I think Traffic reflected that time. I think this movie, to an extent, not every movie reflects the time, but I think this movie is a product of its time, too. I think there's a big problem in Mexico as well, so there's avenues that haven't been explored, like perhaps legalizing some of these drugs. It's a bit more complicated than just saying it here. But I think that needs to be explored, and the idea of declaring war and fighting violence with violence, I just think that might not, obviously, is not working.